I'm Christoph. I'm the pitch doctor. I'm from Berlin, and I'm going to talk about how not to kill your startup with a bad pitch. Because let's be honest, a lot of startups die. You know the statistics, probably 9 out of 10 startups die, okay? And you might say that's really sad. And to a point, it is, but it's also completely normal, okay? And I wouldn't worry about it too much, because if startups die, that's okay. It's okay if your amazing team that you thought you had turned out to be not this team, but more like that team, okay? So your startup fails. It's also okay if your product turns out to be less amazing than you thought, okay? Let's put it that way. It's also okay if your customers just turned out to be super weird and they didn't get what you were doing at all. That's fine. Startups die, okay? It's not a problem. And just like that, also, if the competition was just that much stronger and bigger and they outdid you, fine. It's no problem. It's okay. It's okay if a startup dies. What's not okay is if a startup has a great team, a great idea, and a great product, but it still dies. If that happens, it really sucks. But this can happen. And you know what the cause of death would have been? A bad pitch. So what I want to talk about is it's okay if your startup dies, but please don't let it die because of the pitch. Let it die because of something important, something hard. Because doing a good pitch is not that hard, okay? And that's why we want to avoid this phase. We want to avoid being really sad because the startup died that it shouldn't have died. Some startups need to die. That's just the normal process. But don't let startups die that shouldn't die. Bad pitches do kill startups, though. I know that. I've seen it over the years where good teams, good products, big problems they're trying to solve, and they actually did solve, but they didn't get anywhere because they couldn't sell it to investors, so they didn't get money, and they failed, and they stopped working on their startup, and they went back to a corporate job. So this is what I am. I'm Christoph. If you speak German, my last name is very funny in German. Haha, we can all laugh about that. What I do is I'm a freelance consultant, so I help startups. I worked in a lot of startups. I founded a couple of startups. They all failed, but hopefully for the good reasons. Hopefully not because I pitched badly. I consult for startups. I consult for bigger companies that are trying to be more like startups, which is a big thing in Germany and I guess in Poland as well. I'm better known actually as the pitch doctor. Over the last 3.5, 4 years, I've worked with a lot of startups on how to improve how they pitch their idea and their company to investors, but also to partners and to whoever you need to pitch to. And I do that as a mentor and as a coach for a bunch of accelerator programs around Germany, but also in other countries, a lot of in Eastern Europe, a little bit of Northern Africa as well. And what do doctors do? They prescribe pills, right? That's their job. When I ask people what do doctors do, they always say, like, heal people. No, that's not what they do. They prescribe pills. That's my job as well. So today, I want to give you 6 pills that will hopefully prevent your startup from dying due to bad pitch. Please die because of a real reason, not because you're pitching badly. And the first pill I want to talk about is you have to realize the importance of pitching first. That's the number one step. And I think all of you are pretty good on that because you're in this room now listening to me. So you have to realize that everything is a pitch for a startup. Everything you do as a startup, especially in the beginning, is a pitch. Why are you doing that? When you're talking to people, actually you have an idea and you're looking for a co-founder. You're pitching your first time and you're pitching to a person that you want to have as a co-founder. She's only going to work for your company as a co-founder or later on as an employee if your pitch is really good. If you pitch badly, she's not going to come work with you. The same is true for PR. If you want a great PR story, you're not going to get it unless you pitch them really well. And if you want to sell stuff, also, that isn't working if you don't pitch well. And what do most people pitch for? A pile of cash, a pile of VC money to burn on office parties and champagne. That's how we do it in Berlin. I don't know about here. You're not going to get that either if you don't pitch well. So pitching is really important for a startup because it would, again, be really sad if you didn't get all those things because you need them, right? You need the people. You need the PR. You need the sales. And you need the money. We also need to talk about investors a little bit. This is the basis of when you're pitching investors is understanding them as human beings. And while they're sitting on a pile of cash, they're still human beings. Any investors in the room? Okay, that's good, because I don't want, yesterday I did something where there was an investor in the room and it felt awkward, okay? You have to understand, investors are human beings just like the rest of us. They have a brain, okay? It's actually, they have a very big brain, but this is Homer Simpson. They have a big brain, they understand stuff, they use their brain to understand business ideas, but what nobody realizes is they also have a heart. They also have a heart because they're human beings just like us. So they have emotions as well. And when you're pitching an investor, you can't only pitch to their brain. You can't only say, this is why the business is great, fact, fact, fact. You actually have to appeal to them emotionally as well. I talked to an investor recently at a conference in Germany, and he said something that was very nice. He said, of course I'm looking for a great team, of course I'm looking for a great market, of course I'm looking for great traction, but if the pitch doesn't get my pulse up, I'm not even looking at the deal. So as an investor, you need to get a little bit excitement from the pitch. You want that feeling of, oh, if I get involved with that company, that would be really interesting. Because as an investor, you have to work with that company for 5, 6, 7 years. If it's not interesting to you, you don't want to do that. So the first thing is you have to appeal to the person you're pitching to on an emotional level as well, of course also on an intellectual level. I have a warning for you, talking about investors, okay? So if you're weak in some sort of way, hold your ears, because this is gonna hurt. Investors don't give a fuck about what you do. In the beginning, when you meet someone, nobody gives a fuck about your startup idea. Okay? Nobody gives a fuck. Unless you make them give a fuck. And that is the process you have to start. So you have to amaze people. You have to show them something they've never seen before. You have to entertain them. You have to make them think. Sometimes you might want to make them laugh as well. You know him? It's a little hard to see, but a famous investor in startups in Berlin, right? They all fail, but anyway, he does it. And sometimes, in some pitch situations, you even want to make people cry a little bit. Maybe not physically cry, but you want to get them very, very emotionally involved in what you're doing, right? So you have to do these things to take people from where they don't care about your startup to where they do care about your startup. And that's what your pitch is for. Your pitch is the tool to take people that don't care to a place where they do care. So your pitch is very, very, very important. The second pill I want to talk about is, and this is actually the most important one because it's the one rule that I want everybody to take away from my talk. If you forget everything else, I'm fine, but this is really important. And that is, pitching can be learned. Okay? Because I hear a lot from people, yeah, but pitching is all about talent, right? I either like being on stage, I either like talking to a lot of people, or I don't. But to that, I have to say, no, it's not true. Anybody know who this is? Dikembe Mutombo, excellent. He's a famous basketball player. He always did this, okay? You'll see him again, I think. So no, it's not all about talent. Talent obviously helps, but really it's about training. It's about training your pitch muscle, going to the pitch gym, and doing it. And this slide, not just because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, is the most important slide of the day, so it gets the red exclamation point. If you realize nothing from my talk but this, that pitching is something you can actually become good at, I'm already happy. How do you do it? You start early. The earlier you start becoming good at pitching, the better it is. That's why I'm actually in favor of having a school subject called pitching, starting at first grade. That's what I want. Okay? I don't think we're going to implement it in Germany, but the earlier you start, the better. Now, when I talk to entrepreneurs and I work with them, a lot of them are a little bit older already, and maybe they never got that good at pitching, and they feel like, yeah, well, it's not worth it anymore. But to that, I have a Chinese proverb, and that is, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, but the second best time is now. That's a Chinese proverb, okay? And it makes a lot of sense, and you can also apply it to pitching, because the best time to learn how to pitch is 20 years ago, but the second best time is now. That's a Pitch Doctor proverb, by the way, okay? So just because you're not good at pitching yet doesn't mean you should say, I will never be good at it, I don't care about it, I don't work on it. Everybody should try to become really, really, really good at pitching because it's worth it, and today can be the first day that you start. How do you do it? It's a secret process, patent pending. My lawyer keeps saying I shouldn't tell it to people, but I do, okay? The first step is you need to pitch. You go somewhere, some stage, in front of a bunch of people, and you pitch. After that first step, the second step is super crucial, and the second step is you pitch, okay? Once you've done that twice, the third step is probably the most important of all, and that's to pitch. And now the smart people in the room already know the fourth and the fifth one, okay? So pitching is something you learn by doing it. It's not something you learn from a book, it's not something you learn from a video, and not something you learn from a guy on a stage, but it's something you actually learn by doing it. So please do it. That was the first part. Pitching is something you can learn. But the second part of this rule, and it's the most important rule, is, and it needs to be practiced. Because again, a lot of people come to me and say, yeah, Christoph, but I'll be fine once I get on stage. I'll do the slides the evening before, and then I go on stage, and I'll know what to say. And to that, you can imagine I have an answer, dikembe, right? It's not true. It doesn't work like that. It's not miraculously. So I actually like a quote that the Navy SEALs have, and that is, under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion, you drop to the level of your training. Think about that. The Navy SEALs do everything 10,000 times because they know once bullets start flying over their head, they better be prepared, because you can only do, under pressure, you can only do the things that you know how to do in your sleep. And that's what pitching is all about as well. It's a lot of work to prepare a pitch really well, but it's worth it, because people will realize how amazing your startup is. If you were in here for the pitches of the competition, we were just in the jury room, okay? We were discussing 10 startups. And there was a few startups that had pitched really well, so we were discussing their startups. And then there were the ones that didn't pitch that well, and we were trying to figure out what they actually do. And that's the focus you don't want. You want people to focus on what you do because they understand. You don't want people to focus on trying to figure out what it is that you do. And again, it's about training. So putting in the work, yeah? Pitching is not something that comes to you automatically, but it's something that can come to you if you put in the work. And that is the one rule to rule them all, okay? Anybody can pitch as long as they put in the work. So please, please, please don't forget that. There's 3 parts to a pitch. So these 3 parts you have to become good at. The first one is the content. What do you actually put in the pitch? What do you say? Okay? Pretty simple. The second part is actually performing that pitch on a stage. And that is something you also have to work on. Every single person in this room can be a great public speaker, but I doubt that everybody is already a great public speaker. And the third part of a pitch is, how do you visualize things? So that's basically the charts you use. And also in that, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, you have to become good at, okay? So pitching can be learned, but it is work that you have to put in. The third pill I want to talk about is think about your audience. A lot of people don't. And that's always amazing. I hear pitches where we prepare something and then I ask them, like, who is this for? What do you want to get out of it? And people say, I don't know. Didn't think about that. It's my pitch. Okay? It doesn't work like that. What you have to do when you build your pitch for the first time is actually you have to take a step back. Because you as an entrepreneur, you have all the information. You know everything. You're the biggest expert on your own startup, right? Because you think about what you do 24/7. And that's perfectly fine. You need that focus, right? But you have to think, your audience doesn't. They don't think about what you do at all. They've never heard about it. They don't care. As I said, they don't give a fuck, right? So you come up on stage and you talk to a bunch of people that have no clue what you're doing. So don't talk to them like they already know everything. You actually should think about this movie. Who's seen that movie? What's that movie about, in one word or less? Spying? No. What? Surviving? No. What's the basis of the movie? He does. Exactly. He has amnesia, loss of memory. And that's what I want you to pretend when you build your pitch. Pretend that you have forgotten everything about your startup. And try to think, what would I need to know first to understand why we're doing this? What do I need to know next to sort of continue to understand what it is? If you're telling the story from your perspective, you're going to fail, because the person that's sitting there is like, I didn't get that. I think he's assuming that I know something that I don't. So you have to look through your audience's eyes at what you're presenting, and that's the only way to build a good pitch. So the first exercise is amnesia. Try to pretend you have amnesia and look at it from that perspective. The fourth pill I want to talk about. Pitches are short. Get used to it, okay? When you have a pitch on stage, you normally get 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever it is, but it's a limited amount of time. And even if you don't have that, it's still limited by the attention span of the people listening to you. So you have to be very, very compact in what you do, which means you have a lot of information to get across, you have a limited amount of time, so this here is out of the question. You can't be too slow. It can't take forever to make your point. Now you might say, hey, I just go super fast. And I think we saw some people that tried that earlier here on stage. But that doesn't work either. Because it's not about how fast you can speak, it's about how fast your audience can listen and actually digest what you're doing. So this here sounds like a problem, right? You have a lot of information to get across, you have a limited amount of time, and you can't just go super fast. But there is a solution for it, and the solution is precision. Precision is the holy grail of pitching. You have only 5 minutes, so make every word count. Only say the things you need to say, but don't forget anything. And how do you achieve that? How do you achieve precision? The first step is you make a list. You make a list of the things you need to say. Simple, right? Just bullet points, bam, need to say this, need to say that. And now comes the genius second part of this rule that only I could come up with. And it's, if it ain't on the list, don't say it. Sounds stupid, right? Because you think, of course, I made a plan, I made a list, and I'm sticking to that. No, people don't. You get up on stage, you start talking, you have a plan, and then you look at that guy, and it looks like he doesn't understand what you just said. So you explain it again in a slightly different way, and you hope for him to understand it. And then you look at her, and you're like, oh, she didn't get that. And you give an example. And that's how you run out of time. The problem is it happens because nobody in an audience will sit like this and constantly give you the feedback, yeah, I got it, I got it, I got it. We don't do that. We just look at people. But from the stage, if you're not used to it, it looks like people don't understand what you're saying. And that's how people run out of time. I see it all the time at every event. I see people that don't stick to the plan. Always stick to the plan. If you find out afterwards the plan wasn't good, then change your pitch. Don't try to make it up on stage. It never works. You will always build a better pitch by sitting at your desk for 3 days than in the moment when you're like, oh, I could say this. No, you'll just run out of time. And I think we saw it here today as well. The other thing is, use easy words and easy sentences. What I call Lego language. One block after one block after one block. No Shakespearean sentences. A pitch is not the place to make your English teacher proud. Neither your German or Polish teacher, whatever language you're pitching in. It's about getting information across as simply as possible. This makes it easy for you to do your pitch, but it also makes it easy for people to understand. Because if you do a super long sentence, that sentence only makes sense in the end. So you have to remember 45 seconds of what was said. If you do short sentences, it's a lot simpler. And also, if you use Twitter, does anybody use Twitter? In Germany, nobody uses Twitter. 2 people use Twitter in Poland. Oh, more. That's amazing. If you use Twitter, it's actually a very good way of practicing pitching. Because what do you have? You have 140 characters. When I want to tweet, I always put in what I want to tweet, and it's 180. And then I'm thinking, how can I make this shorter? How can I make it more precise? So I say the same thing, but I use less words. And that is exactly what you want to do in your pitch. You want to trim down your pitch to the essence. Not a single word that doesn't have a meaning, okay? And then you end up being really precise and you end up staying in time. And of course, also this is practice. You have to practice your pitch and you'll become more and more and more precise. Do you know this guy? I think he's, I don't know. I don't think he's any good. He used to be good when he was at a different club, but now he just plays for the wrong club, at least in my opinion. Okay, pill number 5. 2 more to go, okay? You are the star of your pitch. You are very, very, very important in your pitch. And people should always focus on you. What does that mean? Do you need to act? No, you don't need to act. Pitching is actually not about acting at all. It's not about being something that you're not. It's actually about being yourself. You have to be yourself, but you have to be comfortable being yourself. So that's the art of pitching. A lot of people think they need to take acting classes and then they need to pretend to be somebody that they're not. If you're a nerd, who in here is a nerd? Nerds? Any nerds? 3 nerds? Nerds will rule the world. I have a little baby. I hope she turns out a super nerd. Because nerds are amazing. Investors love investing in nerds. But if you're a nerd, be a nerd. Don't try to be a clown. And vice versa. If you're a business guy, which is basically a clown, like a marketing person like myself, right? Don't try to be like the super smart techie guy. Don't go for that. Be yourself. It's the only thing that will ever work. But being yourself also means being emotional, showing that you care about what you do. And I saw a couple of people here on stage where I felt like, do they really care about what they do? It didn't feel like it. I want to see some excitement. I want to see how people are really feeling about, I need to do this. And it's all that I ever wanted to do in my life, okay? So if you love what you do, if you love your startup, show me the love. There's a love, okay? Right there, okay? Show me the love. I want to see that. Because as an audience, you will like something more if you see that the person presenting it really likes it. And for Christ's sake, when you're pitching, have some fun on stage as well. Because this is a job, but it's also a calling, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you need to be doing this not for the money, but for really enjoying doing it. So show that on stage. Don't try to be boring on stage. Try to have some fun on stage. Very, very important. Whenever I see people that feel like they were forced to pitch to me, I'm not buying it, and I'm not getting interested in that startup either. The final pill. Let's talk about PowerPoint. For a lot of people, PowerPoint is the source of all evil in the world, right? It's terrible. Nothing good can come out of PowerPoint ever. Death by PowerPoint. And obviously, I don't really agree. Because people say, it's PowerPoint's fault when my pitch sucks, but as a reply, I just bring Dikembe, okay? It's not PowerPoint's fault. Whose fault is it? It's your fault. The person using PowerPoint incorrectly. That's whose fault it is. And the biggest fault that people make, and I saw it, at least 5 of the 10 teams made that mistake today, and it's killing me. The big mistake is not realizing that there's 2 completely different animals, like this super cute penguin and this even cuter wombat. Between a public presentation where you're standing next to your slide and explaining stuff to people and an emailed slide deck. Now, I have no problems with emailing slide decks. I love that. It's just we use PowerPoint as a way to make a book, essentially, right? Because you could do it in Word, but Word sucks and it's super hard to put pictures in. So we use PowerPoint, we put a picture, we put a graph, we put some text, we put a headline, we put whatever, a page number, we put all that stuff in there and it becomes a booklet, okay? And then we turn it into a PDF and we send it to a person that maybe we've talked to, maybe we haven't, but certainly we make the file self-explanatory simply because we know that that person might pass it on to a friend or another person in the VC company, whatever. So you do that, it's a self-explanatory file, people read it. That's the use case. And that is great. When disaster happens is when you take that file that was supposed to be read by somebody and you put it on a frickin' wall at a public presentation. That just sucks. Because then people are not paying attention to you when you're presenting it, but they're reading what's on the slide. You have to have 2 different files, and you have to upkeep both of them. I know, it's tough shit, okay? But life as an entrepreneur is tough like that. So don't use one file for 2 completely different use cases. Please, please, please use 2 different files. And when you do that, this will not happen. Don't put a pile of text on a slide, because people read text. If you put text in front of smart people, they read it. And then they don't listen to you at all anymore. And I realized that sitting there in the jury just half an hour ago. I was looking at a slide. I was like, oh, there's a lot of information on there. Bam, 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 I'm reading it. 30 seconds later, I realized I didn't pay attention at all to what the person pitching said. And that's not what you want. If I do this slide, at least I should stand there and say, hey, read this slide. And then you put the Jeopardy music and you wait for 30 seconds, okay? That at least would be useful. but obviously not nice. So what do you want to do instead? Use pretty pictures and have the people focus on what you are saying. That should be the number one focus. And the picture only underlines what you're saying. And when we talk about pretty pictures, is that a pretty picture? No. Potentially it is. Make it bigger. Use a big picture, okay? And while you're at it, don't use one with watermarks. I see that all the time. Spend 30 cents or whatever on a decent picture that you can use. Because it does make a difference. People looking at a picture, they see a difference between one that is shitty and one that actually looks nice. So put that work into your presentation, please. And put one thought on a slide. Don't put 3 bullet points on one slide. Why? What's the use? Again, I'm reading number 3 when you're talking about number 1. It doesn't make sense. Focus the people. Focus the people on the one thing you're talking about and have them listen to you. And the beauty of putting every thought on a slide by itself is actually slides are free. Okay? PowerPoint doesn't charge per slide. If they did, I would be screwed because I use a lot of them, right? But PowerPoint's business model is you download it illegally once and then you use it for free for the rest of your life. That's their business model, right? Is the Microsoft guy still there? Sorry, I didn't say that, okay? Slides are free. Use as many as you want. If you ever hear anybody tell you, yeah, there's a startup event, you can pitch, but only bring 12 slides, either you hit that person on the nose right away and say it was I told you to do it, or you call me and I'll talk to the people. Because that's just bullshit. It's never about the number of slides. It's about the amount of information that you put into your 5 minutes. Of course, if you say 100 different things, that's too much for 5 minutes. But if you say 20 things, it's actually good to have 20 things on 20 slides and not 20 things on one slide. And you think I'm joking, but I saw that. The foreign minister of Dubai did a talk, and don't ask me why I was there, did a talk in Berlin recently. He had 18 bullet points that he talked about for 45 minutes. Guess how many slides he had? He had one. One slide, 45 minutes. 15 bullet points, one after the other on the slide. And now I said it's 18, right? Where were the other 3? They were going up like this because he couldn't fit them on the slide. And apparently in Dubai, it's pay per slide. I don't know. So what happened was, and I was sitting in the last row, very good seats, and I saw how after 2 minutes, the first heads started going like this. So he was talking about the second, or maybe even the first bullet point, but maybe the second bullet point, and you knew that everybody had read 15 bullet points already, and now was at 16, 17, 18, and within 5 minutes, he could have stopped the presentation because people had read the bullet points, they were through, and nobody listened to him at all. Okay? So one thought per slide, slides are free, use as many as you want. Just limit the amount of information you put in your presentation. While we're at it, when you're presenting, go a little easy on the fonts, the colors, and the animations, okay? Simply because I'm not saying that whatever blue I'm using, whatever font I'm using, I know you're all designers, whatever. Pick one that you like and stick with it. That's all I'm saying. Don't use 10 different things, because it's super confusing for the people watching it, because every slide is a different color, and they have to be, oh, yeah, okay, now I'm looking at a different color. Just keep their mind focused on what you're saying, and don't screw around with them by using a lot of weird effects. Okay? Can we do that? Beautiful. If you have any doubt when you're making your chart, make the font bigger. That's what you should do, because there is a person there in the back. They want to see what you have on your slide. Don't worry about it looking nice. Who are designers in here? Any designers? Designers love white space, right? You always say, yeah, but there's got to be white space around the font, around the text. It looks better. But guess what? There is white space around this here. There's enough white space. It's called the wall, right? So when you're presenting something, make the font as big as possible so people can see it and worry about the white space later. If you do a presentation you send out, by all means have white space, because it looks better on a computer screen. But on a wall, there's still stuff around it, so don't worry about it. And the final things I want to say about PowerPoint and about this here in general is every good pitch should have cute puppies and cute babies in them, okay? And obviously I'm a little bit kidding, but only a little bit. And why is that? Because as I said, people like looking at good pictures. So having good pictures in a presentation always pays off. But specifically, people like looking at things they like. And people like dogs. People like kittens. People like wombats. Whatever it is, people certainly like babies. If you're talking to a room full of investors, they're all 43 years old. They all have 2 little kids. They love their kids. If you have a good reason to put a kid in your presentation, do it. I see startups all the time that have products for children, and they have no pictures of children in their presentation. I see startups that have products for dogs, and they don't have cute dogs in their presentation. That's just stupid, because people enjoy looking at things that they like. So if you can do that, do it. Definitely try to have nice pictures of whatever you're talking about in your presentation. And with that, I can only say, if you want to get in touch, I'll be here today and tomorrow. If you want to grab a business card, I have very sexy business cards. They're sexy not because my face is in the front, but because I actually have some of my slides on the back. So you can come to me and you can get your favorite slide as a business card. Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's a bunch of other ones, even ones that I didn't show. So with that, I think half an hour probably. Yeah, perfect. 31 minutes. See, a German guy knows how to start on time and how to finish on time. Thank you very much.